asked me to give this speech today. He knew that I'm a Vietnam War veteran, and in the 30 years since that war ended, no one has spoken here at this occasion about the Vietnam War. Now for me, taking on a speech like this is pretty daunting. But taking on Vietnam has reopened old files of memories that have been locked away for decades. It dawned on me that for anyone under the age of 40, that this is history, not the actual experience that has divided this nation and the memories of us who are older. After all, this is the war that brought to our language such terms as body count, search and destroy, and quagmire. For these past 30 years, far wiser voices have preceded mine today, attempting to make sense of why we fought this war without much clarity. So I'd like to make it clear from the beginning that I'm going to talk today about one day I spent there, the worst day of my life, and that I was just one of over 3 million who served in Vietnam. It is my hope that my story will focus our thoughts on what this day is all about and what it meant to me. I'll bet that many of you are wondering why I'm speaking today, and the fact that I served in Vietnam may be news to you. I've spoken to 6 of the 47 men that are listed on the monument behind me, who have spent their whole lives here in Cornwall, as well as several transplants like myself who served in Vietnam. We agree that we're anonymous veterans. Unlike our parents who fought and won World War II, who changed the course of history, that Tom Brokaw is justifiably defined as the greatest generation. I think our lives were best summed up from a quote from the film Platoon. But be that as it may, those of us who did make it have an obligation to build again, to teach others what we know, and to try, with what's left in our lives, to find goodness and meaning to this life. It did not mark a high point in our lives, just another chapter, one we more than likely want to forget. We became the guy who runs the lumber yard, who makes your shaker furniture, the guy you call when you have a rabid raccoon rampaging your basement, the guy you entrust with your town's money, or that smiling face greeting you at the dump. Oh, come on, Fred, smile sometimes. Or some of the guys who show up at your house in the middle of the night to put out your chimney fire. Whoever it was who said that it was unending hours of absolute boredom, punctuated by moments of sheer terror, described my tour in Vietnam. I entered the Army as a conscientious objector who was willing to serve, which meant that I never carried a gun. So they made me a medic, and they assigned me to the guys with all the guns, the infantry, more specifically the 1st Cavalry Division. Instead of horses, we rode in helicopters. This is the unit that was featured in the film Apocalypse Now, though we didn't go surfing or play Wagner. It was the summer of 1970, the Vietnamization of the war, where we were attempting to turn over operations to the Vietnamese. The general attitude we had was that no one wanted to be the last one to die. So instead of going on search and destroy missions, we went on search and avoid ones. I was assigned to be Doc to the 1st Platoon of Alpha Company. We were commonly referred to as grunts. 15 to 20 guys from all across America. We would go on jungle patrol for 3 weeks at a time, get back for a week at the landing zone, and then back out to the bush again until your year tour of duty was over. Under these 24/7, 365-day-a-year conditions, you really get to know each other. And you do become a band of brothers. Some months later, I was promoted to be senior medic of Alpha Company, which meant that I traveled with the command post, the captain, his radio operators, and our artillery lieutenant. Our captain was Johnny Newton Ward, Jr. of Sarasota, Florida. He was a man of 27 years, commanding a company of 18 to 20-year-old boys.